Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Success Secrets Revealed with Bob. Bob, how do you pronounce your last name for clarity?
Circosta.
Circosta, simple. Success Secrets Revealed with Bob Circosta today. He's TV's billion-dollar man, and I'm going to talk a little bit about who he is in a second and some of the things that he's accomplished. Believe me, you know what he's accomplished, and if you've never even heard his name, he pioneered an entire industry. We are so blessed to have him with us. But first, I want to explain how Success Secrets Revealed came about and why. Success Secrets came about because my radio show. I have a radio show, Internet Marketing and Business Solutions with Ronald Couming, approximately 1.7 million reach, and we're live every week, Monday from 11 to 12. But because of COVID, the station isn't manning people live. So instead of not bringing people on and continuing to contribute value to people, I basically started this live feed. Going to do the live feed, strip out the audio, and then going to take the audio, send it to the radio station. They're going to run it there in a rotation. But the important thing is you get to still hear subject matter experts now live, and you get to actually see them. That's what Success Secrets reveal. That's how we came about. And the whole purpose is we want you to hear from people who have been there and done that, actually had success in business. So there's a big, instead of, you want to deal with somebody who has been there and done that, all right? You wouldn't ask your broke brother-in-law for financial advice, right? So when you're trying to go into business and be a business person or an entrepreneur, you want to ask or learn from somebody who's already been there. Sharon Lechter, a friend of mine, was quoted the other day. I was listening to her on a live, and she said, a smart person learns from their lesson. That learns from their mistakes, but a genius learns from other people's mistakes, okay? So you don't have to be the one to make the mistakes. You just got to learn from other people's mistakes. Long intro today. But my name is Ronald Couming. The host for this show is RCS Online Solutions. That's my company, online marketing company. We help business owners and entrepreneurs get whatever their product and service is in front of the people who need them and need their solutions. Basically, awareness equals opportunity. If they can't find you, they can't consider you, right? You can have the best website, the best copy, the best service, the best prices, but if they can't find you, they can't even consider you. Now, enough with all the distractions, okay? So again, I told you, we're here with Bob Circosta, and I actually put my glasses on today so I could read this a little more fluently than I have in the past. So TV's original home shopping host and helped create the multi-billion-dollar TV home shopping industry. He sold the first product ever offered. Over the past 43 years, Bob has logged over 25,000 hours of live selling on TV, made over 75,000 separate product presentations, and has individually sold over $6 billion in merchandise, earning him the title TV's billion-dollar man. Today, Bob helps entrepreneurs create an impact and profitable pitch to maximize their sales on various marketing platforms. In addition to making record-breaking sales appearances on TV shopping channels, Bob also co-hosts What a Great Idea with Bob and Chad on a live shopping channel in Canada. So, Bob, welcome with us today. So everybody help me welcome Bob.
Hey, thank you, Ronald. Great to be here. Great to be with everybody. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you so much for coming with us. You're blessing all of us with your experience and expertise. I mean, I don't know how many people out there can truthfully say that they're responsible for $6 billion in sales. You know what I mean?
That's a lot, yeah. But over the past 43 years.
Yeah, well,
so it's been quite a bit.
Yeah. And had you done it in under 40, we might have been impressed, right? But exactly. 43, it's kind of like, dude, where you been? Would you take a nap or something?
I took 3 years off. I went on vacation.
See, and that's great because you had the lifestyle that would support that and allow you to live. To me, that's what freedom is basically to do what you want when you want. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So anyhow, but your intro is amazing, but it's kind of, static. You know what I mean? So I've seen you speak. I've met you in person. You're dynamic. You're just, great to be around. Can you just tell us a little bit more about who you are, and maybe bring up that story about how that got started, and then obviously,
Sure.
then we'll
Well, first
talk
of all,
about what you
yeah. Thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate that very, very much. Well, it all started for me, like I said, 43 years ago. I happened to be there at the beginning of, a whole new industry, something that was not known before that, and it was called home shopping. And I'm sure many, many of the viewers and listeners out there today, home shopping now, because it's basically in every country around the globe. But 43 years ago, it was not. And I was on this radio station, and this radio station was a very small station in Clearwater, Florida. And as a matter of fact, it had nothing to do with selling merchandise or anything like that. It was a news talk format. So I had a talk show. And every day from noon to 3, we did the talk show. And my talk show was like everybody else's talk show. We talked about politics and what was going on in the world and all those sorts of things. But what you have to keep in mind is that this very small radio station in Clearwater, Florida, was possibly the world's worst radio station in the world. No question about it. We had very, very few listeners. So, but as everybody knows, in order to stay on the air, you have to sell advertising. And if you don't sell advertising, you don't stay on the air. So the owner of the radio station, a gentleman by the name of Bud Paxson, he would go around town and he would visit business after business, and he would try to sell advertising on this little station that nobody's ever heard of. And he was successful here and there. And one day, and this is all true, Ronald, one day he sold a 13-week advertising contract to an appliance store. And as a matter of fact, the appliance store is still in operation today here in Clearwater, Florida.
Wow.
And so for 13 weeks on my talk show, we talked about the appliance store, and I would do the commercials live, and I would tell people to go into the store, and they were having a sale on this and a sale, but it had nothing to do with selling of merchandise. It was a talk show. And so at the end of that cycle, 13 weeks, that's what the guy bought. At the end of that 13-week period, Bud went back into the appliance store to get paid. And he walked in, and the guy who owned the appliance store said, "What are you doing here?" And Bud said, "Well, I'm here to, get paid and renew the contract." He said, "Renew?" He said, "Why would I renew?" And then he said, "Not one person has even come in here and said they heard my commercial. So why would I want to renew? And in fact, I'll go one step further," he said to Bud. "I'm not going to pay you." All true. Now, Bud said, "Wait a minute, hold on. We had a deal. That's not how this works." And so they went back and forth, back and forth. Finally, the guy who owned the store said to Bud, "I tell you what I'll do. Instead of paying you in cash," I look back by the door back there. I just had a shipment come in a couple of hours ago. "Take a box of merchandise." Well, by this time, Bud was so frustrated, I think he felt better he was leaving with something. And so he picked up the box of merchandise. He had no idea what he was going to do with it. Got in the car, and Ronald, he drove back to the studio. Now, meanwhile, I'm on the air, and every hour of my talk show, they had like a little news break at the top of the hour. They do the local news, local weather. And so I'm taking a break, and I'm sitting in this booth, this very little booth, and I'm taking a break. And I'm not bothering anybody, okay? And pretty soon the door opened up, and in walked Bud. Now, Bud was about 6'7". So when he came in a room, you knew he was in that room.
Yeah.
And he came in this little booth, and he's holding in his hands an electric can opener, okay? Now, this is 1977. So this was an avocado green, ugly electric can opener. I mean, everything back then was avocado green, I think. But he's holding this can opener, Ronald, and he looked at me and he said, "Bob, when you come out of the news, I want you to sell this can opener." And I looked at him like he had three heads. I said, "You want me to do what?" He said, "I want you to sell." And I remember thinking, "Sell?" And I remember saying to him, "You want me to sell? Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm a newsman. I have morals and ethics. I don't want to sell something, And then he proceeded to tell me and explain to me the relationship between me selling the can opener and me getting a check. And instantly that can opener looked pretty good. All right. And he said, I'll give you $1 a can opener. That was a lot of money back then. And so I took the can opener. I came back on the air and I said, we'll get back to our topic in just a moment, but you'll never believe what happened during the last break. And I recounted the whole story. And I started describing the can opener. And I talked about the can opener, what it was going to do for you, how it was going to make your life easier, you know, so forth, so forth. And I said, if you call me up right now, call me up and reserve a can opener, come on down to the studio and pay for it, it's yours. And pretty soon, you know, the lights on the phone, they started to blink, they started to light up.
Wow.
In fact, I didn't know what those lights were because nobody had ever called me before on the show. So I had no idea what was going on. And the producer said, people are ordering the can opener. And so people came down to the studio. That day, that was August 28th, 1977. We sold 112 electric can openers. And that was the beginning of the entire home shopping industry. Bud was a great marketing guy. And so he said, wait a minute. This was better than trying to go out and advertise and things like that. So every day at 2 o'clock on my talk show, we stopped the talk show and we did a product spotlight. We would highlight a local product or a local business or a restaurant or something like that. And then it grew. Then it got very, very popular. We did radio for 5 years. 5 years. And then when they wired the county for cable, we leased a channel and we said, wow, people are going to be able to see the stuff now. It's got to be better, right? So we leased a channel. That was in 1982 and that went to 85. And then in 1985, we went nationwide, coast to coast for the first time. But the name of the service, Ronald, when it was on the radio, way back on the radio, it was called the International Suncoast Bargainers Club. That's what it was called. Yeah, right. International. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I mean, on a windy day, the signal went around the block, you know? So that's what it was called at the beginning. Then it went to Home Shopping Club. And then it went to then it went to Home Shopping Channel when we went to cable TV. And then nationwide, it was Home Shopping Club. And now today it's called HSN. And it's, like I said, it's all over the world. So that's my background. That's where I come from. And I think the thing to learn from it all and take away is you never know what's going to happen. All right. Be prepared and be open-minded. And we used to have a saying, go with the flow or you'll go out with the tide. So go with that flow, with whatever you're doing. But that's a little bit about my background.
Yeah, but I think it's fascinating. That entire industry, I mean, you pioneered an entire industry without even realizing it. And, you know, what if that gentleman just paid his bill? Even if he cut ties and just paid his bill, who knows how that industry, if it would have developed in fashion. But doing that, I mean,
every day, Ronald, when I drive by the place,
yeah,
you know, the appliance store, I give it a little thank you honk on the car, you know. And as a matter of fact, can you see that picture back there?
Yeah.
What we can't really get too close, but that is the original script when we went on the air nationwide in 1985. That's the original script. And it's under glass and protected and everything, but it's truly a piece of history. But you're right, we really didn't know what we were creating at all. But what if? You're so right. You're so right.
And your ability to pivot. I mean, you know, coming into like what's going on now in the world, actually, with this COVID stuff, and you know, industries are changing and people are being locked in, and some are working, some are not. There's bankruptcy. Right. But, you know, the people who are going to come out of this, I mean, everybody's going to come out of it, right, that lives.
Right.
But, you know, the ones who will be successful are the ones who had the ability to pivot, to just see something. And sometimes you really don't even see it. That's what I really loved about that story is you guys had no clue. You were just trying to make your money back. And then it became a marketing thing. And then you started making more money from it. So kudos to you for you know, creating an entire industry, and I'm sure that was your plan right from the very beginning.
Yeah, sure, yeah, right, of course, and of course, help on the way by so many people, and there were a few of us at the very beginning. It wasn't just me, but it was just. But you're so right about being able to pivot. You know, I have said for a long time now that everybody, and they don't realize it, but everybody, because of this, everybody has their own shopping channel now. Okay. And that has really been proven true because of the pandemic that we're going through. In the last couple of months, everybody is online doing videos and talking about their service and their book and their this and then their that, which is true. But I mean, this is the new, I mean, home shopping is still like an incredible industry, and I love it. And I'm on the air all the time, and it's a great, great industry. But this is an extension, and I think people have to understand that you've got to be doing video in your business, and you hold literally in the palm of your hand, you hold your distribution.
I love it. And today, even, going a step further, kind of being like an affiliate. So people could find a product or a service or a company that they like their product or service of. And if they get a following, they go live, people see it, like it. And as long as they have an affiliate link or an affiliate, at least a relationship, but certainly a link is better. It cuts out any mistakes. They can now start to make money as an affiliate.
Sure.
So there's all sorts of things.
Yeah. Think about it this way, Ronald. Years ago, the secret sauce that we discovered and understood in home shopping was we found out how to take a product or a service or a message, whatever it is. We found out how to take that, combine it with video in order to get a response. Isn't that the same thing that we're all trying to do right here? Combine what we have with video in order to get a response. I have had so many people contact me in the last couple of months, and I'm grateful, very, very grateful. People saying, hey, I'm doing video, I've never done it before, or I'm doing it, I'm not getting a response. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? So we help people do that as well. But it's amazing. I mean, this is a powerful, powerful tool right here.
I love it. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about that. I mean, that, I'm sure we might delve a little bit back into history, but tell us a little bit more about, what you're currently doing and how you're helping people learn from some of the things that you've accomplished.
Well, what I'm doing nowadays is the same thing basically I've been doing my entire life, because I thoroughly love, the passion is still there. I'm as excited about it today as I was years and years ago. And so still on HSN quite a bit. I have a number of products on HSN. My company distributes a lot of products on HSN, but I still go on the air and I'm the spokesperson for a few of those products as well. So I'm very, very involved in that. And by the way, at HSN and all TV shopping right now, we can't go. You were talking earlier about the radio station. You can't go in the radio station. We cannot go in the studios of HSN. We have to do all of our product segments from our homes via Skype and things like that, which is very, very interesting, but I love it. I think it's great because it gives the viewer a peek, behind the scenes, and it makes it real, which it is. So I'm very, very busy doing that all the time. And as I said, I've always trained people on how to present what they have. And I've always tried to help people that way. And because of everybody going on the social media platforms and the like, so many people have contacted me. And so I'm doing that more and more, squeezing in the time to do that as well, to prepare people to, let's say, go on and make a video. How do you do it? What do you say? When do you say it? How do you say it in order to get a response? Because no matter what the business is, Ronald, no matter what anybody has out there, maybe it's an author with a book, maybe it's a coach, a service, whatever. Maybe it's a tangible product, maybe it's not. Whatever it is, I've often said you got to have two keys. You got to have both of these. And if your business is not where you want it to be today, I guarantee you're lacking one or maybe both of these two keys.
So tell us the secret.
I was waiting for you to say that.
I was going to go like this, right? But
well, yeah. See, all right. I want to make sure you were listening. You have, and I often refer to it as P and D. P and D. First, you got to have the right presentation. So no matter what it is you got to have the right message. You got to have the right pitch. the right presentation. And then the second one is called D, and it stands for distribution. So you got to be in front of the right people. And that's why you got to have both, because you could have a great message, but you could be in front of the wrong people. Or
Right.
you could be in front of the right people and have the wrong message. So that's why you got to marry the two. And so I deal a lot with people on making sure, that they're capitalizing on that as well when they make their videos. But that goes to any business. So again, if anybody is, thinking about their own business right now and they're saying, geez, I wish I was making more sales, or I wish this was happening or that was happening, just ask yourself those two questions. Is my message right? And is my distribution right? And if you say, yes to both of those, and then you got to look at something else. And I don't know what that could be, because
Yeah.
everything for 43 years, I've tracked everything back to those two keys. Those are the two keys for success.
I love it, and that's exactly. I mean, I don't know my presentation when we started earlier, and I gave a little bit about my company and what we do. I mean, I firmly agree with you, because awareness equals opportunity. They can't even consider you, never mind hire you, if they can't find you. But if you are, I was just talking to a doctor today, and he really wants to start to do some stuff, especially in light of what's going on.
Sure.
But, I was explaining to him, you don't want to just go out there and just do, like billboard stuff, spraying and praying your message. There are so many tools and steps that you can do to fine tune. So you're getting in front of people who are already interested in what you have to offer. I agree. I think that is so huge, presentation and distribution. So what are some tips do you think that people can use first to increase their presentation skills? And I know you work with people for this, so this will be informative but not instructive. So what are some of the presentation, and then maybe how they could fine tune who they actually get in front of?
Sure. Well, talking about the presentation, when you take a look at what you have to first understand, and I say this with all the respect to what everybody has out there, no one needs what you have. Think about that for a second. Their lives are going to go on if they don't read your book. Their lives are going to go on if they don't have your coaching service, or if they don't have your product or my product. Their lives are going to go on. What you have to do is create the need for what you have. And there's a certain way in which to do that, to be able to create the need. But one challenge a lot of people run into, Ronald, is the fact that they become so emotionally attached to what it is they have. They think that whatever they have is the best, and it could be. I'm not saying it isn't. I mean, it could be. But they think that, well, what I have here, I have a coffee cup here. This is the greatest coffee cup in the world. So all I have to do is just show it to somebody. All I have to do is just tell people what it is. Why wouldn't they want it? It's the best in the world. No. You have to create the need for this coffee cup. You have to tell people how they're going to truly benefit from it. That's why I always tell people, if you want to sell more, there's a way to do it. Stop selling. That's right. And start helping. Stop selling and start helping people with what it is that you have. You have to change your whole perspective. And that's one thing that I do with people, is change that shift. And that takes, sometimes that's a challenge, because people are very, very involved, and they're very passionate about what they have, rightfully so. But if you're so close to it that you can't become objective, you're going to have some challenges along the way. And that's just one little piece of the puzzle when it comes to creating your presentation. There are certain ways to say things, how you say it, how you take what you have. As far as distribution now, it's unlimited. It is so easy now. It is easier now than ever before. Why? Because of all the social platforms that are out there. You can build that distribution. I work with a couple of people, one gentleman out in Denver who is just super at creating distribution. And that's really his field. But you take like HSN, when I go on the air at HSN, that distribution, I'm in over 100 million homes when I go on there. So they have the distribution. I bring the message. I bring the product. So that's how those two come together.
So now that's a great point. I mean, we both know that you need those things, but
Yep.
you don't have to be the one to create them. You could find somebody else, like in your case, somebody else
Sure.
has that distribution, they have that network, and then you perfect your message and you get in there. Or you could be the one who has the distribution. You bring in people who give presentations and you get a piece of the pie for, work out some type of affiliate.
Sure.
So what I like to, tell people is sometimes, right, you see something, you see how it's working, you find an add-on, all right, it's working okay, but it could work a little bit better with this. When you create that add-on and you find the value, I love how you said that, serve, don't sell. Find that value. Either that company's going to hire you to bring that, or you can piggyback on, whoever their customers are, or they're just going to buy you up, right? Or, look what happened with Uber. In Lyft, I mean, they found an industry. Airbnb, who would have thought that people would open up their bedrooms? I mean, it's a huge billion-dollar industry, right? So
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so sometimes you don't have to be the one to create it, but you do have to see it and you have to understand it, right? And if you can perfect both, you're great. But if you can only perfect one, so that way there, I just hope people understand that it's not overwhelming. But if you can understand the concepts of both, what is needed, and then either create one or the other, or you find somebody who has a great distribution, you find somebody who has a great presentation and needs it, put them together and then take a piece of the pie from both.
Exactly. I mean, people have to understand, Ronald, that business is all about one thing. Business is about solving problems.
I love it.
People come to me with so many ideas for products. I mean, you can just imagine. I mean, people contact me all the time and saying, I have this idea and that idea. You got an idea?
Yeah, look at it. It's a nail clipper, right? And there's like a little bunny on it. Somebody else already, but I bought this. Somebody gave it to me or something. I think maybe I got it in a wedding bag or something.
Right.
But you'll never. There's crazy ideas out there.
Oh, it is.
I'm only joking. I don't have any ideas.
But the first question I always ask people is, what problem is your idea solving?
Correct.
And that's what people have to understand that are trying to move their idea forward. You got to be solving problems out there. That's what you got to do. Again, it goes back to changing that perspective. Stop looking at what you have, whether it's a book or a coaching service or a product, whatever it is you have. Stop looking at it from your perspective. What it's going to do for you. How's it going to help others? That's what you got to answer. What problem is it going to solve? When I look at products to go on air, the products are already finished and ready to go. And people will come to me and say, Bob, we want to get this on the air. We'd like for you to take it on the air. That's one of the first questions that I try to find out is, what problem are you solving? And it's got to be a clear cut, universally understood problem. Okay. But it's not just looking at the product. I look at the people behind the product. I look at the company that's behind the product. And that's very, very important too. So there's so many moving parts, which that's probably one reason why I'm still interested and I'm still passionate and I'm still excited every single day that I do it.
I love it. And there are so many people out there, and I've gone to a whole bunch of different courses, because sometimes, I go to the courses, I listen, I learn, but everybody in that room for me is a potential client anyhow, right? So, because they're all business owners and entrepreneurs, they get their message together, they want to get it out. I help them put it together or get it out. But but there's so many of them, and you got people who are selling or teaching you this or NLP, all this other stuff, right? But in my mind, hiring someone like you, who, I mean, your proven history, for the numbers are just astronomical. Most people can't even connect to them, emotionally, what I mean? So it's like they can't connect to it. But so to me, if somebody really wants to learn the art of presentation and sales and selling and connecting with your audience, and we talked earlier about having a mentor or a coach, but somebody who's been in there and done that and can guide you. And I think it's so important for two things, especially with you as an individual. One is, like you said, because they can be objective. So when you're not emotionally tied to the product, the results, or the outcome, you can be objective to whether or not the overall, what value it really brings to the marketplace. But then add in the fact that you can help them with their presentation skills. To me, it's like a no-brainer. I mean, even if I wanted to pitch somebody else's stuff as an affiliate, I might call you and just work through your steps so I can present their stuff better and get my commissions. Again, you don't have to be the one who's selling the product or service. You just have to, make a deal with them, get a commission, or find somebody else who has a distribution. There's
I work with a lot of people. Right, you're so right. I work with a lot of people, Ronald, that are trying to raise capital. Well, that is selling, quote unquote. Yeah. You still have to create a need for what it is you have. Yeah. So there, it's such an important point that you just made. But even earlier, when you mentioned the fact that you got to deal with people that are doing what you want done. Right. And when you said that, and I heard you say that, I said, you know what? This guy gets it. He understands what it's all about, because it's one of my pet peeves. There are so many people out there that say they can do this and they can do that, and they haven't even done it themselves. All right.
Crazy.
So, I mean, when people come to me and they say, I want, can you get my product on TV? I tell them what needs to be done. But they'll say sometimes, well, I'm working with such and such. And there are a lot of great people out there. Don't get me wrong. But I always say, well, find out from the other people what products they have on the air today. What do they have on right now? What are they doing right now? Because if they say, well, no, I had something on the air a couple of years ago, that's going to be a little tough. But I see so many experts out there, and they happen to just find out how they make money. Just find that out. Follow the money.
Yep.
If they're making money by only from getting you to participate in something, then there's a challenge there, okay? Exactly. But if they make their money through their expertise in helping you do something, that's a different ballgame.
I love it. And I fully agree with you, man. I love that and fully agree with you. And I really think that, tell us a little bit more about your course. I'm going to put up your website. So people at the bottom here is his website. So you can certainly reach out to Bob at any time.
Yeah, well, that's my email. They can email me directly. Yeah. Bob at bobcircosta.com if they'd like. They can email me directly. That comes right to me. So it doesn't go through anybody else. It comes right to me, and I'll be happy to tell. Because I say that because everything is customized. Everything is different. So if somebody, what goal are they trying to achieve? Then they need to know different things from maybe the next person. So it's a customized training program. I've been doing it ever since the late 1980s for TV. And I'll tell you how it came about. When we first had celebrities on the air, okay? Nice. Well, celebrities, it was difficult. Yeah. It was difficult to get the celebrity to admit that this jar of cream, so to speak, was more important than they were. Because for their whole lives, they're the product. So it wasn't through any fault of theirs. It's just the world they come from. They are the product. So, but we're on the air and we're trying to get the celebrity to talk about this jar of cream. So I had to come up with a way in which to retain that importance for the individual, but at the same time, focus on the jar of cream and how it's going to help other people. So we do a lot of that in the training program. But once again, everything is customized. So because everybody is different, every goal is different. And the first question I ask is, what do you want to accomplish? And that will determine what we do. But I'm more than happy to, answer everybody and anybody who emails me it there, and I can give you the details of everything. And we do it all remotely. So you don't even, and now we have to, but we do it remotely anyway. So you don't even have to travel anywhere.
Excellent. Now, what I kind of like about my mind's actually already thinking about, presentations and stuff. But even if somebody's putting together their presentation for video, for copy, They get on the phone, they talk to you, they learn whatever they need to do. They just listen to you, record it, then go to rev.com, print it out, take that copy, put it on either their website or their email list or whatever they're doing. And it just helps them perfect their presentation and increases the probability. Because you're right. I mean, if you focus, like I know early in my career, I would focus on like the widgets, the nuts and bolts, right? And I would lose people like 90 seconds into it, right? And I was wondering why. I mean, what I had to offer was just astronomical. If you're on the first page, people can, but my message was the problem, not my product. And I get people, you don't even pay me until after I get you ranked organically. So there's no risk. And I was still, what the heck is wrong with people? There's zero risk for them, right? But I wasn't conveying to them here's one of the best sentences I ever learned. And what this means for you is, you know what I mean? What this means for you is I learned, did all, so now you don't have to, there's a whole, see, and I paid 10 grand for one day with the guy who was in my industry, and we went through everything, right? So, and that was years after I had been given presentations, but I knew that when you hire a coach and you work with somebody, especially if somebody's in your field, right? So I paid 10 grand. I bought a day and I flew to Chicago and spent the whole day with him. And so and I
makes a difference.
Within my next 3 presentations, the money I made back, it was like threefold just in the next 3. Never mind what I've made in the years since then. So you always be open to the idea that you can listen and learn and perfect. And sometimes it's just tiny little tweaks. So I love what you're doing, and I really like the fact that you've done it. And you've done it so well. I would think people who have anything remotely that fits the criteria of what we spoke about, they need to call you. I personally, I'm that whole doctor stuff that I spoke about, and this other guy, he does amazing things. And so you don't have to file bankruptcy, but it's a way to save your credit without filing bankruptcy, and it won't kill your credit score. So I'm talking to this guy. I'm like, listen, if you don't want to go public with this, right? Sell it to me. I'll do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. And you go on with the message, right?
Or just give it to me, and I'll kick you 10% royalty. But when I get them up and running, I might contact you just to learn, just to talk about packaging and presenting it, and then it's words, it's videos, and all that.
Right. But you said it about your challenge that you had, and that is you got a great product. I mean, you got something that helps people, and you got something that gets people results. However, you couldn't get them in the door, so to speak. Okay. So if they can't get in the door, they're never going to listen, and they're never going to experience what you have. So there's an old adage, features tell, benefits sell. And so you've got to really hone in on, and you know what people say to me after they really get it? And I know when the light bulb is going to go off because I've done it for so long. And it's so gratifying to see that in somebody when they get it, when the connection's made, and after they get it, they say, wow, I didn't know it was so simple.
Exactly.
I didn't, I was having so much in my head, and I was not just confusing myself, I was confusing the other person, and it's, you cut through that. So it's just imperative. I mean, it's imperative that you do. I'm not saying you got to do it with me, but you got to find the right message, the right distribution, and when you say yes to those two, you've got a home run. A guy by the name of Red Motley said years and years. Do you know Red Motley? Did you know of him?
No, but
Red Motley. Yeah. He was what an entrepreneur, and he developed so many different successful businesses, and then he developed Parade magazine later in his life, but he made a statement, and the statement was, nothing happens in America until somebody sells something. Think about that. And we're seeing the bad effect of that right now because of the pandemic, that people are not able to get their services out, to get their products out, to open the doors. And we're seeing what that's doing to our economy. So you've got to, a lot of people get hung up on that word sell. They think pressure. They put a lot of pressure on themselves when they say, well, I don't want to sell. Well, forget about the word. In fact, the word "säljig" is Swedish and it means to serve. That's the word "sell" over there is "säljig," but it really means to serve.
Yep.
So yeah.
That's excellent.
So that's yeah.
One point I'd love to make, Bob, is
Sure.
when I finally got that, and I went out after I got it, and I went out, and it was like 3 presentations. I literally tripled, more like 3.5. In addition, because my normal was, the 8-12%, whatever, but the uptick on top of my normal, right? Was easily 3.5 times. But then I sat back, and I said, it's great. I made this extra money, and I know going forward, I'm going to be able to serve more people because now I can convey to them the benefits. But I sat back and I said, geez, how many millions did I lose over the last decade? Dozens and dozens and dozens of presentations and live online because I didn't get it. And I did it. And it was these small tweaks. So it's not so
What took you so long? What took you so long to take that step to say, you know what, I've got to change. I got to get some help. What took you so long to do that?
Success. I was already having success. I was already doing good. And it was in my mind, because I was there and I thought, well, okay, I'm doing all right. 6 months a year I spend on the beach. I go to Caribbean for 2 years, 2 months of that. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking I'm doing all right. And then, somebody said something to me and it was just like, yeah, but dude, you could, you know what I mean? And the same things that you're doing. So, part of it was like, well, I really, I don't want to work, 16-hour days in 10 months, 11 months a year. So, getting over the mind shift that it was going to increase my workload, it actually decreased my workload in terms of what I actually do, because as any business owner, you have a team that, delivers, right? And you present. And so my workload it actually got easier because now I'm not selling, I'm serving. My conversations became more of attraction marketing. They were coming to me instead of me coming to them. And then when I'm working with people, and instead of me convincing them all the time that they made the right choice, because they were sold into something, when they're served into something, they already believe it before they buy it. And now it's just a matter of presenting the results, and we crush it. So I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spend 2 hours a month holding somebody's hand either, because that's 2 hours a month I'm not serving someone else.
Sure. That's interesting. And I've been asked so many questions over the years. Somebody asked me one time, what is successful selling? How do you define it? And the only way I know how to define a successful selling is when the other person gets a better deal than I got. When they get a better deal than I got. When the service and the benefits to them outlast whatever commission I made from it. So that's success, because then they want to see me again. And you're right. I mean, it kind of snowballs at that point. It makes it easier.
Absolutely, because then they refer
and more fun.
Yeah, and then they refer you. So that conversation to 200 people, you're working now with 30.
Right.
Those 30 now tell collectively 3 people each. One might tell 5, the other might tell 1, but collectively. So now you're in front of 120 closed. So it's just it's just a totally different mindset. But it really came down to me just understanding that I wasn't living up to my potential, and thinking that if I did get more, it would, change. And it wasn't. It made things so much easier. So I'm a big fan of it. I'm living proof of it, going back, many years. But every now and then you just wake up, you just have those aha moments.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and it comes with time, but it was massively accelerated when I just got outside myself and got a coach, and I got somebody specifically. I've gone to other speaking camps and speaker events, and I've done these things, but these people were teaching you to speak. They were teaching you to do this. Then, and I did that, and I was doing well. But when I really wanted to step my game up, I went to somebody who specialized in marketing for small businesses, and he was massively successful. I mean, he sold one of his businesses for like $50 million, right? So this guy was massively successful. And we were friends anyhow, right? So I just went to his house and we just hung out for the whole day, but we did business, and I Zoomed everything, recorded it on my phone and did Zoom. So I had double just in case there was, then now I'm sitting on the planes and I'm reliving it, and I'm going to events and I'm listening to it over and over, and but I'm a big fan and living proof that having a coach is a mentor, and just opening your mind to listen, learn, serve, and earn is how I like to phrase it.
That's great. Oh yeah, I love that. I'm hearing the dinging in the background from my computer, so people must be emailing, which I appreciate very much.
Oh, good. Hopefully they're from this and just,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not somebody saying, hey, that coffee cup you showed, right? That is the best coffee cup. You know what I mean?
It is.
This is
the best coffee cup.
Yeah, I want one. In fact, I want two because my sister needs one.
That's great. That's great.
Bob, anything in closing? This has been a tremendous. I really hope people listen to this and go through. And don't just listen to the words, listen to the meanings behind the words, because it will help you tremendously.
What a lot of people forget and they don't even think about is in the early days of home shopping, that industry was looked down upon. It was like, it just was not looked at. I mean, celebrities did not want to come on. Nobody wanted to come on. I'm talking about the mid 80s. And late 80s. Okay. And I remember when I had this one celebrity who at that time in the mid 80s was at the top of her career. I mean, she was very, very popular and well known. And she came to home shopping as a favor to a friend of hers. She had no idea what she was getting into. And she came as a favor to a friend of hers, and she was going to sell some jewelry. And we're sitting in the green room before the show, and she looked at me, Ronald, and she said these exact words: I hope no one sees me doing this. Now, I wasn't too motivated from that, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you mean? She said, if people see me doing it, my career is going to be ruined. So let's just get this over with. Really, that's what she said. So we went out and we did the show. And then she figured out that she put about $250,000 in her pocket for an hour's work. And I couldn't get rid of her after that. I mean, she wanted to do more and more and more. But at that time, until the early 90s, home shopping did not kick in. So what does that mean to you that has a small business, or maybe you're a consultant or a coach, or you have a book or whatever? What does that mean for you? Because in every opportunity, in every business, there are going to be those days where you say, you know what? It's just not worth it anymore. It's just not, because I questioned myself years and years ago. Is this really something I want to focus on? And everybody goes through that. And you've got to remember when you're faced with that question, should I continue or should I give up? When you're faced with that, just go back and remember why you started in the first place. Why did you start this whole thing at the beginning? And focus on those. Don't focus on the reasons why it won't work. Just grab that one reason why it will work. And every single one of us have that choice every single day. Every morning when we get up, we've got the choice to make of how it's going to go. And I've lived by 3 rules in business. And these rules have never failed me. They'll never fail you. They'll always have the same answer. And the first one is that if you don't go after what you want, you're never going to have it, obviously, right?
Tough one.
But if you don't go after it, you're never going to have it. So that's number one. Yeah. Number 2, if you don't ask the question, the answer will always be no, always. And number 3, if you don't take that step forward, you're going to stay in the same place, getting the same results. So that's why my close here, or whatever you want to call it, my departing message: don't stay in the same place. Take that step. Fear and faith require us to do the same thing. Both fear and faith require us to do the exact same thing, and that is believe in something we can't see. So the choice is yours. And I look forward to helping anybody out there that I can. If you just want to chat, I'm very transparent. I'm going to tell you if I can help you or if I can't help you, or you don't belong on video or you do belong in video, whatever the case is. I'm going to be very, very honest with you. But Ronald, let me just close by thanking you for inviting me and allowing me to chat. I've really enjoyed it, and all the continued success to you, my friend.
And you too, and thank you. And this was chock full of quality advice for people. I hope they listen and learn. Thank you so much, Bob.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Hey, everybody, that was amazing. If you have any type of product or business and you really want to become successful, you need to contact Bob, because he can help you both understand some of the most important fundamental things with respect to your products and services and getting them out there. And the first is creating your presentation, and the second is in your distribution. And again, you don't have to be, you can have a great presentation and not a good distribution out network. You can have a great distribution, but no message. So if you can perfect one or both of those, you're golden. But here's the catch. If you don't have either, but you know somebody who has one and not the other, and vice versa, you can put them together. So there's so many opportunities, but just like you said, especially in closing, is you've got to take action. You've just got to listen, you got to learn, you got to put yourself in the room with people who are operating at a level higher than you. If you are in the room and you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You've been listening to Success Secrets Revealed with Ronald Couming from RCS Online Solutions. We help business owners and entrepreneurs, much like you, attract, convert, and retain their ideal customers and clients to achieve even greater success. If you need any help getting your products and services in front of the people who are most likely to buy them, please call me. Thanks, everyone.